Well, hello, shiny, crafty people. It's Tim Totten here, and welcome back to the channel. I'm just finishing up the premiere of my video over on my other channel, or on my channel, but the other video that I did about 9 biggest lies told to quilters and new sewists. And so as that's popping up, people will start coming into this live. So I'm so excited to be able to share to you a number of things, including the Town Square Quilt that you see behind me. Now, of course, if you're watching this live, welcome as you come in. If you're watching this replay, what I'm going to cover in here is my birthday, which was yesterday. I'm going to talk about some really lovely things like how this Town Square Quilt come together, how I finished the border, and what I'm going to do for the backing. So I hope that you will stay tuned. And I'm just going to quick tell the people over on the chat, y'all come over to the live if you have time. And I'm super excited because today is the start of college football. It's week 0 in college football, which is one of my very favorite things on the planet. So I am so excited. Vicky, thank you so much for being here. AMT, happy belated birthday. Thank you. It was just yesterday. Kay, good morning again to you too as well. Cindy, thank you for coming. I did have a fantastic birthday. So as people come into the live, you will see behind me that beautiful quilt that I'm going to talk about. I did get a couple of awesome things yesterday for my birthday. I went to a fantastic small butcher shop / deli / little tiny restaurant cafe, and it's in the city of Mount Dora, Florida. So I live in Lake County, Florida, which is right in the middle of the state, like sort of smack dab in the middle. And I went over there because they have the most amazing sandwiches. And that sounds weird to have spent $40 on 2 sandwiches, but Brad and I went and split some amazing food. Like, it was unbelievable. A prime rib cheesesteak sandwich with artisan cheese and this amazing meat in homemade focaccia bread, like so fresh and amazing and crunchy. You could still see like the fingerprints and the little dimples they bit into the focaccia. Amazing. It was funny because Brad's never been there. So my friend Melissa, who owns an amazing candle shop called Crafted Scent Bar, which is in Mount Dora. So if you get to Mount Dora, schedule a time to go to Crafted Scent Bar and create your own custom scent. Oh my God. That's absolutely amazing. I probably shouldn't say OMG like that. Either way, she is amazing. Crafted Scent Bar. Check it out. I love it. I completely support and endorse everything she does. She went over there one day for lunch. We share a birthday month, so we had our little birthday lunch together, and we were brainstorming business stuff. And she bought a couple sandwiches I'd never eaten there. And oh my goodness, we sat in her shop and just pigged out on amazing food. So Brad takes this focaccia bread, amazing sandwich with cheesesteak and melted cheese and amazing steak, and takes the first bite, and the look on his face. I wish I had recorded it because it was so hilariously good. So I did that for my birthday yesterday. My very first gifts were from my sister and my sister-in-law, and they gave me the typical, I had to have some over 50 stuff. So they gave me a candle that says, "Smells like your 40s are over," which is, anyway, among other things. And my son bought me an amazing book, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, soon to be a major motion picture starring Ryan Gosling. So I want to read that. The same guy who wrote The Martian, and they made a movie of that, obviously. I am missing a few things in the chat, so let me get back to that. And I will get to this quilt in just a moment. Let's see. Brenda says hello from Walla Walla, Washington. I love the name of where you live. And it's just fun to say. And thank you so much for the birthday. Donnell Sewing, hey, Timothy, do you prefer Tim? I don't care. I always tell people I just don't like Timmy, because for the older folks here, including me, I'm not stuck at the bottom of a well, and I don't need a border collie to go get me help. For the younger people, like my son's age, I'm not on South Park or running around going, Timmy, Timmy, which is if you don't get it, it's a South Park thing. It's fine. You don't have to. Morning, Norma. Morning, Vicky. Morning, Judith, Andrea, Kathy, Mary. There's so many people on here. Thank you so much. So let's see. What's the name of the store again? There's a store called, well, the restaurant is called The Butcher's Nook, and that store with the amazing candles, which is really like an experience where you go create your own candles, is called Crafted Scent Bar. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Robin Jolly Richter, who happens to be my mother, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for your efforts 50 years ago yesterday to birth me into the world. That was very lovely of you. So let's see, a bunch of other happy birthdays. So everyone who said happy birthday, thank you so, so much. Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, yeah, Andrea, we're not going to call me Timmy, but it's true. I can't stand it. It's so crazy. All right, a couple things I want to get into specifically. So if you've watched my previous videos, you may recognize the Town Square Quilt behind me. I'm shooting this on my laptop because I can't figure out how to get it to use the camera from my phone, which I could give you better shots of it. But you'll know I did this, the interior part of this quilt, the black and white with the bright colors, that was all what I did in the previous video. And those blocks are super easy to do. Now, this is quite wrinkled because it's been folded up. So yeah, I'm just showing it to you this way. I had to figure out what to do with the border. And I talked in my video about wanting to do a colorful border, which is exactly what I chose to do. This is the backing fabric of my quilt. And I cut strips and then put those around. So that strip ended up being not quite about 1.5 inches, this interior border. And then I put the whitish gray marbly fabric back around the outside as a wider border. And then what'll happen is it'll get a black strip, a binding strip around it that will end up being about 1 inch wide. So it'll give it a nice black border all around. Now the back of this, for the back, I had to decide how I was going to piece it. And I was doing it out of this beautiful batik fabric. This is what the back is going to look like. Now, the problem is I didn't buy the super wide backing fabric. And I'm going to make a video about this particular process too. So I have videos coming up for how I finished this quilt. And I have a video coming up for how I created the back for this quilt. Because I figure if you're going to watch a series of how to make what I consider to be a rather easy, simple starting quilt, because this is relatively easy as a starter, you need to know all the steps, right? So what I'm doing is I had to deal with the fact that I did not find a backing fabric that was wide enough for the entire back of the quilt. So this quilt is something like 82 by 64 or something like that. The numbers are somewhere in there. And it's not a standard size by any means, but it's good enough for what I'm going to use it for, which is to curl up on the couch. And maybe occasionally go on a bed or something. Somebody could sleep under this because it's 7 feet long, just about. So as long as they're relatively short, they're going to be fine. Now, the problem is regular quilt fabric, and this fabric that I bought, this beautiful batik, was only 44 inches wide. And that's even using the selvage edges. So you're not going to get that. So this is a 44-inch wide strip, or let me use this one, I'll show you. So let's say I wanted to take this 44-inch strip. It's not going to go. I can't get wide enough for the entire piece. So I've got to piece another piece of that fabric to go across, right? Well, then that means you're going to have a seam. I used 2 different colors to show you. There would be a seam here, right? So this seam is going to be a problem because I don't really want a seam running up the side of my quilt if I have that full piece of fabric going. But you could also do it this way, right? You could say, well, I'll just do the seam in the middle. I hope you can hear me okay. I'll do the seam like in the middle. We'll run it this way, and we'll have that full width of fabric going across here and here. Well, now I have a seam running across the middle. And the problem with that is if it's all the same fabric, right? If it's all the same fabric and I have a stitch seam running across the middle, then I've got to get it exactly right, which is hard for a beginner and frankly hard for somebody who's been doing it for 35 years. And it's too easy to get that off. And if you have a brain that very much loves symmetry, if you looked at a quilt and the line across the middle was just a bit wonky and off, oh, how is that going to mess with you every single time you look at the back of the quilt? So I decided there was no way that I was going to make that happen. So I had to figure out something different. So let me ask you, before I reveal sort of what I've been doing and giving you a preview of it, what would you do or what have you done if you need to piece the back of a quilt, 2 pieces of fabric together, imagine these are 2 separate pieces, and get that seam running across the middle? What do you typically do? So I decided instead that I would actually break up the back of the quilt. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I decided, and also the fabric that I had left over, especially after cutting some of these pieces to go around it, I had bought just barely enough fabric for the back. So had I put it together, I would be so close to having to be exact and I might not get some some room to play with. So I decided to break up the back. Yes, just like you said, AMT, I've decided to break up the back. And the way I did that was I cut one of the wide 44-inch pieces in half to give me 22 inches. And I put a big swath through the middle, 44 inches across the middle, and then a 22-inch one at the bottom and a 22-inch one at the top. But I decided to then break those up further because I happened to have some of the black fabric here left over. Now I had to cut binding strips. I got plenty of that. And then I was able to cut 1-inch strips. And that's what we did here. So I'm going to show this to you as I lay this out. You have to give me a minute. Now, I love this batik fabric. I love how bright and colorful it is, that it has all these different colors in it. But I needed to break it up a little bit, and it had to be bigger than the top. It has to be bigger than the top because when I piece the top, or when I put the top on it and make my sandwich with my batting, it needs to be able to be bigger so that I can then trim the backing. I don't want to trim the front because it'll go out of wonk. So what you'll notice I did is I put these little tiny strips in here. They're half-inch when they're finished. So they were 1 inch to start, and then you take a 1/4-inch seam off of each side. Now, it's maybe not as broken up as I would like. I wanted a little more of a stained glass feel, and that big middle section probably could have gotten a little more broken up. But the truth is I ran out of black strips and I ran out of patience. I just didn't want to cut and stitch this thing anymore. I really would have preferred maybe putting a strip across the middle going at a funky angle. As it is, the only two sort of horizontal strips are both exactly 90 degree, they're exactly straight across. But I think it feels less, it's going to be less likely that you look at one halfway through the middle cross and go, oh, that's way too much. So, and yes, Andrea, it is reversible. That's the other thing that I really do love about it, is it kind of becomes this reversible type of thing. So it was a lot of fun to do. And I think it's actually kind of fun. I still wish I had done something fun in the middle, but the truth is I could applique something on there if I wanted to, or feature something else. I do have a number of pieces of the batik from the front left over, and I could take some of those bright but colored batiks, the squares, like the purple and others, and I could do something in there that maybe would set it off. But I don't know. I'm kind of worried about messing it up. What would you do? Would you add something to the middle to make it a little more, foo-foo, give it a little more, or would this be good enough for you? I'd love to hear. Yes, Maria, I get 2 quilts out of it. It's pretty good. Kathy says, nope, you wouldn't do that. I mean, that makes sense too. Oh, Maria, have you ever made a mosaic backing? I'm not exactly sure exactly what that means, but I assume you're sort of, by that is to use some orphan blocks from the same quilt and make part of the back and make it like a mosaic. I didn't want to have to make 2 full quilts. So I kind of only came upon this after I realized I was going to be so close with the fabric amounts. And literally by doing this, by adding these strips in, even though they weren't adding much because they only really added a half. Like if you look at the back, it's going to be hard to see, but there's very little fabric added. But it's at least across the entire quilt, it's like a good 1/2 inch or more, which surprisingly really worked, really helped. You could lay something on it for a bit to see if you like it. Absolutely, Mary. I thought about that. I may. And thank you, Richard. The backing did turn out kind of interesting. What I like about it is it's a beautiful fabric, but as you may notice seeing it in your screen, because I'm noticing it looking on the screen. It's raining outside, by the way, and it sounds fantastic on the metal stuff here in the building. As you might notice from the way you can see it, up close it doesn't look real obvious, but there feels like there's sort of a pattern to the colors. There's a splotchiness to the colors that I think in big amount of fabric and 84 by 62 or 64 by 82 or whatever it's going to end up being, is going to look very it's just going to have that repetition. And I like cutting it up with these black strips. And it was actually really easy to do. It was not hard to do this. There were just a few fiddly things, and those will be in the video that I make just about making this type of backing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I am going to be using some curved pins. I got these recently. I am going to be using some curved pins, and I'm going to show you what those look like. So I love when I'm going to do a real basic quilting of this on my sewing machine with a walking foot. I want to teach people who've never done that before how to use a walking foot. And this is a great one for that, because I'm just going to do straight quilting. I don't really care about doing any funky stuff on top of this. I'm just going to follow some of the lines and quilt it that way. I think that is my overall plan. And to do that, because I don't want to wait for somebody with a long arm to long arm quilt it for me. So it's just the way that goes. So let's see. I'm going to use these curved pins, and you can see from the pin that it's got that curve to it. So it's not a straight pin. And that's because when you put this down, when you open it and you go to put it down in, that curve helps to pull the fabric up underneath. So if I needed to quilt through this, right, if I got to put the pin through, when I put my pin down in, it makes it a lot easier for you to then come back up. And then I'm going to use a tool. Let me see if I can show you how I do this. I don't know if that's going to be real good. Can you see that? You can't see that pin. Well, I'm going to get you a better version in a minute. I'm going to use this particular tool that I bought, which will be it. When I do the video, I'll put it in there. This is actually a pin basting tool. It was less than 10 bucks on Amazon, super cheap. And they sell these at quilt stores and elsewhere. And if you can get yours out. I've had it out of here a couple times. It's actually annoying. Judith says, I just bought some of those curved pins. It's a game changer. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So the way this is going to work, you see this tool. What this does is this goes underneath. There's little ridges. See those half ridges? And they lay down. And then what they allow you to do, because you're putting the pin onto those ridges, and then it allows you to close the pin. It allows you to basically save your fingers. Because trust me, when you do pins, oh my gosh, your fingers just get crushed. It's so bad. So this tool makes that a whole lot easier to be able to do those pins. You think I'd be good with cameras after 4 years of doing these, or 5 years of doing these, but I still have to learn. So that thing helps so immensely. And it really, really helps when you have to take all them out afterwards. So I'm super excited about that, because literally you just put it underneath and then you can push the pin down and pop it up. Comes out super easy. There'll be some up close shots of that in the video that I make. So I would love to hear some ideas from you. I have a pile of men's ties. I'm going to grab them real quick. So I have an absolute pile of men's ties here that were given to me. So my partner Brad worked in an office for years and years, and now they work from home. Doesn't have to work in an office anymore. And Brad's got 2 kids, and every Father's Day you get a tie, right? Like, luckily I made sure my son didn't think that was the right choice for me, because I don't wear ties very often. So he got ties, bunch of them. And I had another friend give me a bunch of ties, and I made a number of cool things out of them. If you haven't seen my video on my channel, I did make an entire apron out of ties. And if I could find that apron right now, I'd put it on and show you. I've never actually used it as an apron, only because it seems a little weird. So plus I don't think it'd be a very good apron. Like, it's a beautiful apron. It'll go like in a fabric textile clothing art show one day, but it's not really very effective as an apron. It would make a great skirt. Ties make really great wide, shaped skirts. But either way, I'm trying to think of something to make with these. Now, I thought of doing like weaving a rug. I've also looked at making pillows, but I also thought of making a basket, and where you just basically weave a basket like you would, and it goes up in the edges and weaves together. I will have to do a bit of hand sewing at that point. And those of you who watched some of my previous videos where I tell you how little I enjoy hand sewing, which I really don't enjoy hand sewing at all, will know that I don't love it. But I would do it for that particular piece because it's probably the best way to make that go. Let's see. Maria, that tool saves your fingers. Oh my goodness, you are so right. That I had one years ago when I was doing a lot of quilting, and I used it all the time. Then I lost it somehow. But for less than $10, it's like, okay, you have a tool, and it's nice wood actually. It's quite lovely. Anyway, that'll be in that particular video. So ties, I'm trying to figure out what to do with ties. I'm also trying to figure out what other kinds of things people want to see on the channel. It's weird. I have people that I really love to watch on YouTube as creators, you know, people who sew. And I like to come see what they come up with. Kathy says, make a rug. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. A rug would be fantastic. And I thought about that a lot. You know, the weird part, and I'll show you when one of the weird parts is the way that the ties are shaped. You know, we have a tie, it's quite wide at one end, and then it gets quite skinny in the middle, and then it gets skinny all the way to the other end. If you put these two together, like if I put these two shapes together, right? It's gonna be hard to see that on there. I'll give you a different angle. So if I put these two together, right, I can do one here, and then I can do one the other way, right? You're like, oh, hey, I'll do it this way. And I thought about this. I actually played with this idea of weaving it together. The problem is, in the middle, it's very skinny, and then at each end, it's really wide. So I put like 30 of these together, and I ended up with a shape that looked like this the whole way, which may not be terrible. I mean, it may not end up being the worst idea, but it sort of warped in a funky way, and I wasn't sure I could keep it going the right direction. I may just sew them side by side together and do something like that. I don't know. I already have a couple videos on the channel of using ties to make other things. One of them was an eyeglass holder. So if you ever check out that video, I basically showed how to just cut off about this much of it, make this the opening for you to put your eyeglasses into, and then flipping it down. And that's on the channel. That's kind of cute. That was a fun thing to do, and to figure out how to make so you can use Dad's Dad's ties to make a holder for eyeglass. Share Bear says, I have my dad's ties. I was going to make a quilt, but now I might make an apron. You know, the thing about the apron would be very cool is they do actually get kind of heavy, which is kind of fun. I think there's so much fun things you can do. Richard, a Christmas tree skirt and a table centerpiece. Absolutely. Like, those are things. The thing is, I have seen other people do those, and I kind of wanted to not copy everything. If there's a weird balance that happens where I see a really great inspiration from somebody, and I think, oh, I should do that. But if their video is really good and I really enjoy it, I kind of feel like, I don't need to recreate that for that. And then I remember that I have a different audience than they do, and it's probably okay. But I made a video once where the inspiration was several people who had made Easter bunny bags for kids' treats for Easter. And I saw a different way to do it a little bit, and I decided to create my own version and made a video of it. And then there was a person, and I don't know why they cared so much, but who just like would not stop commenting all over that I was stealing that idea from somebody else. And I was just copying it and stealing it, and it was awful. And why was I taking views away from them? And even though I know that's not true, I still got this feeling of like, I probably, unless I can make a new version or a different or change something, maybe I just don't even invite those kind of comments. And mostly because I don't want I don't want to steal from someone else. But also then I realized I find people new every day that I've never seen before. So the odds are, just because I watch a video somewhere else doesn't mean you would ever see it. I do try to link whenever I have a video that I'm referencing or got inspiration from. I do try to link to the original video. So if you ever see that happen, you say, oh, Tim, did you take this inspiration from somewhere else? Please message me, leave me a comment, whatever. And I'll be glad to, either put the reference in there that I did that. But like, I can't go back and re-record the video and like put in a recorded message saying, I, saw this idea from so-and-so first. Plus, there aren't that many new ideas. So Kathy says a chair pad or a cover for a chair. I love that idea too. I think that would be totally cool as a way to do that with ties. yeah, so I'm working on those ideas. I am also still working on the Manx quilt blocks that I made, and you may not have seen this one yet, but this one I actually added batting to the inside. So I put down my starter fabric, I added batting, and then I started doing the quilt itself. Now, if you haven't seen my Manx quilt block video, then this is like a log cabin, but everything is folded over and it's so much easier to make. I can make one of these in like 10 and a half minutes, the entire thing. So that's very impressive. Cindy suggested a pillow. Yeah, I found a really great inspiration for a pillow that kind of does an angled version of these. So I'm totally in love with that. So I will be doing a full tutorial with this Manx quilt pattern. The problem is I need to make 54 of these blocks, and I have like 15 done. So I'm doing like 2 or 3 a week. I figured that will get me to Christmas time when I plan to give this away. Believe it or not, this is not my style as much as this is my style. So this is way more my personal style. This is going to fit somebody else. Yeah, 54 sounds like a lot, Cindy, but then you realize, I think it was 54. Yeah, I'm doing like a 7 across and 9 down. So that should be, no, that's 63. Maybe it's 9 down and 6 across. I don't remember the exact number. It's going to be, and it's really only going to be a lap quilt. It's not even meant to be a full bed. That's because this quilt, this block is only 10 inches. So even if I do 6 across, it's going to be less than 5 feet wide. So I may have to do more. I haven't decided if I'm putting a border on this or not. You know, I put a border on this one, but I may not do a border on this particular one. I was going to leave it to where the back was going to be and I am going to show people how to piece a Manx quilt without having to cover this with other fabric. But I kind of don't love how some of the stitch lines go over each other because this self quilts as it goes along. But it's not perfect. I should have used either a lighter back or a different thread. If I had used red thread, every one of the backs of these are red. If I had used red thread, it would have been less obvious, would have worked better. So, but I've already made like 15 and I'm not redoing them. I'm not making 15 more. I'm going to make 39 more or whatever it is, and I'm going to be done. But if I do, if I bite off, a couple every week, I think it'll be fine. Talking though, I assume some of you, maybe every one of you is way more organized than I am, and you just do a great job. You make everything start to finish and don't change up. But the truth is, I have a quilt on a roll at my house that I have moved 3 times, just to give you an idea of how often it's bounced around. It's so crazy. I'm going to make that one day, but I have to take one thing apart. Oh, pardon me. And so it's been 10 or 12 years that I've been moving that around, and it's a great quilt. But so one day I'm going to work on that one. So I need to get this. I'm going to take bites out of this one and get it done. Maria, is there a way to share our project with you? Absolutely. So here's the interesting thing. Like, I have a group on YouTube, on Facebook that it's a private group, but you can join it. It's called Shiny Crafty People. The problem is I either need to make it public, which I don't like making the group public on Facebook because it invites all kinds of crazy people who don't care at all about our group. They just join every group possible so they can spam garbage or porn or whatever. We don't want that. So I've made it closed, but it also limits the number of people. But you could go on Facebook and find it. That would be fine. Also, I need to recreate my my personal profile on Facebook about this so that you can interact with it. You can also go to my Patreon. So I have a Patreon channel. You can just go to Patreon, Patreon, and search up Shiny Crafty People. You should find me there. Or it's in the link of several of my recent videos. And I'm going to make a bigger deal about that. And on Patreon, you can join as a free member. You can also join as a paid supporter if you choose. I don't want anyone to do that unless they feel like it's something they want to do. However, the paid folks do get a few extra things. There are some ways I say thank you. It doesn't matter, though. You don't have to do that. Most everything is available to the free people. And of course, my YouTube channel always has my stuff on it. So I'm not changing anything I do here on YouTube. I'm just going to do a few extra things on Patreon. So it's been 29 minutes and I am pretty much done with the live. You've seen some previews of what it looks like, what this quilt is going to look like. And I will be sharing those with you, as well as I'm going to be bringing you that Manx quilt, showing you how to put this together without doing any backing, or you're going to quilt as you go. And basically the two pieces will get put together. We'll do pieces. So there you go. You don't have to pay for Patreon though, if you don't want to. But thank you so much if you choose to do that. Everyone else, I hope you have a wonderful, amazing, and fantastic weekend. It is the start of college football. If you join me later, you did not hear me say that at the beginning, but college football is one of my favorite things. I just went to my local high school football game last night. It was my birthday, and I decided to go support our local kids as they start playing high school football again. It's the Eustis High School Panthers. Final score was 37-0. So they lost, which was really hard to watch for them because I know they really want to do well, and they weren't able to score any points, and they had a lot of major issues. I felt really bad for them, but I did go have a cheeseburger cooked by athletic supporters. My son keeps texting me, and I don't know how to turn that off on my computer. Anyway, I had a cheeseburger created by the Athletic Booster Program, and sat in the hard concrete stands because I forgot to bring my seat cushion. I'm 50 now. I should be able to remember to buy and carry a big seat cushion so it's comfortable. And I watched our kids just learn how to play as a team, even though they did not do well, and the other team has a lot more success record over the last couple of years. So it was hard, but they will figure out how to do it better through the rest of the season. Some of you may know that I used to call games on the radio, meaning I was the color announcer for the high school football for the Eustis High School Panthers, and I traveled to all of their games, both at home and away. And I did all of the analysis. Basically, my friend Billy Matthews did all of the play-by-play. He's a great radio voice. And I did the sort of explanation of why, what happened, and all of the other details. It was a fantastic and wonderful experience. Kathy's off to drumming class. Oh my goodness, that sounds so exciting. I'd love to know what that's about later. Andrea, nice to see you. Yes, I am 50, forgetting is a common thing. And those of you who asked, you can always email me, tim@timothytotten.com. And you're always welcome to email me, whatever you want, stuff, pictures, whatever. I love to see. I wish there was an easier way for us to have back and forth. I just don't like paying attention to a lot of social media, so it's kind of like hard to do. And I have a number of things that I always work on. So this sewing stuff I love, but it's not my main thing that I do. I make these videos for you every week because I just love hanging out with this audience. But I also publish a magazine for funeral directors, and we're in our busiest time because we're getting ready for a new issue. I publish that 5 times a year. Well, 6 times a year because we do one digital issue, and the rest are print and digital. So that's a lot of my work. I also coach people how to become TEDx speakers and how to speak better. How to speak better. And of course, I do the sewing thing, and I have the company Final Embrace, and I help out with TEDx stuff, and it's busy. Luckily, I have just no small children, so I can actually do these things. Can you imagine? All right, folks, everyone, have a lovely, wonderful weekend, and until next time, stay crafty. Bye for now.